You know, there's a bit of an irony that goes on when we start exploring these spiritual teachings, because most of us come to these teachings because we want to control something, because there's something that we desire, and we think that if we leave things as they are, we're never going to get that thing that we desire. And so we start looking around for ways to make it happen. Usually, first we try physical solutions and strategies, and then when we see that that doesn't seem to be getting us anywhere, we turn to these more woo-woo practices and techniques in the hope that they'll give us what we want. And the irony is that what you discover when you dive into these spiritual teachings is that the more you try to control things and the more you try to insist that things must happen the way you want them to happen, the more those things tend to escape you. Whereas the more you relax and the more you realize that you had access to the things you wanted all along and that you don't need to do all these crazily difficult things to get them, the more they just manifest themselves into your life very, very easily. Now, I want to go deeper into this because this is one of the biggest stumbling blocks for most people. Most of us have completely bought into the idea that effort equals reward. Work hard and then you deserve. Push and then you succeed. Struggle and maybe eventually you'll be allowed to have what you want. So when we first hear that spiritual truth, that reality is shaped by our inner assumptions and that we don't actually have to make things happen, we almost can't take it seriously. It seems too simple, too easy, too opposite to everything we've been taught. So what do? We try to turn it into another form of effort. Instead of hustling in the physical world, we hustle in the spiritual world. We say affirmations 100 times a day. We visualize until we're exhausted. We meditate and journal and script and try to tick all the boxes of doing it right. And when nothing really changes, we think we must be failing. But the truth is, it was never about effort. The world doesn't respond to how much sweat you pour in or how many hours you clock. It responds to your being, to your state, to what you're assuming to be true. And this is where the distinction between the human self and the higher self comes in. Your human self feels small and separate and vulnerable. It looks out at the world and says, if I don't control things, if I don't act in the right way, I won't be able to have what I want. That human self is terrified of letting go because it believes that letting go equals powerlessness. But your higher self knows better. Your higher self is that level of you that is generating this entire experience of reality. You are not separate from God. Your higher self is God expressing itself as you. And from that level, there's no scrambling or forcing. There's no chasing. There's simply choosing, assuming, and allowing. The human self can only ever see a very small part of the picture, but the higher self sees the whole thing. The human self thinks it has to figure out the how, but the higher self already knows the how. When you learn to trust the higher self and let it take charge and let it lead your human self wherever it needs to go, everything changes. This is why so much of spirituality is about surrender. Not surrender in the sense of giving up on what you want, but surrender in the sense of relaxing into the experience that you want. When you're insisting and pushing, you're operating from the human self's assumption of lack and limitation. You're saying, I don't have it, I need to make it happen. And reality mirrors that back to you. But when you choose that you get to have what you want, and you trust that the higher self has now created that for you, you're stepping into your true power. You're saying, of course it's mine. The source that loves me infinitely wants me to have it and has created it for me. I don't need to force it. All I need to do is rest in the awareness that this is what is now being created for me and enjoy watching it unfold. And that is when the outer world rearranges itself to reflect exactly that. Let's take a common example, wanting a loving relationship. From the human self's point of view, this desire can feel desperate. You look at your life and you think, I'm alone, I don't have anyone, I need to find a partner, I need to make them love me. And from that state, what do you experience? Loneliness, fear, struggle. Maybe you go on endless dates that lead nowhere, or maybe you fixate on someone who never seems to give you what you want. But from the higher self's point of view, the perspective is totally different. The higher self already has the most beautiful relationship imaginable lined up for you. The one that is absolutely the most perfect for you. And that will fulfill you way beyond anything you've ever experienced. It's just waiting for you to say the word. To say, yes, I'm willing to allow you to bring me the one who is perfect for me. The moment you do that, magic starts to happen. But if instead of doing that, you go, no, I know better. I want you to bring me this person and it has to happen like this and they have to respond to me like this and we have to meet in this way. And if it's not like that, I'm not accepting it. Well, if you're doing that, you're messing with the perfection of what the source has lined up for you. You're going to get all sorts of muddled and unpleasant manifestations. Why? Because when you're trying to control things, you've clearly got a very strong assumption that things are not going the way you want them to go. You're very aware that the person you're insisting must behave a certain way currently isn't behaving at all in the way that you want them to. And reality doesn't reflect what you wish or what you repeat 1,000 times a day. It reflects what you know to be true. And so this is why dropping the insistence and letting the higher self take over works so well. Because by doing this, you're going beyond the human mind. You're going beyond all that lack and limitation that you're aware of. And you're allowing a new story to be formed beyond what your physical mind can see and beyond what your human mind is capable of understanding. Now, to be clear, you can have a very strong knowing that there is this one specific person who is right for you and that this is the person that you're going to end up with. But here's the key distinction. If you truly know that this is the right person for you, then by trusting the higher self to bring you the one who is right for you, you know that it's going to be this person because you know that they're the one who is right for you. But often when I say to people who say that they want to manifest their SP, that they need to trust the source to bring them the person who is perfect for them, they tell me, no, I don't want my higher self to bring me someone else. It has to be that person. Well, can you see what's going on there? If when I'm telling you to trust the higher self to bring you the person who is right for you, your immediate reaction is that it will be someone else, then you must have an assumption that this person isn't the right one for you. Or at least you have a doubt or a suspicion that they might not be. Otherwise, when I say just trust that you will be given the one who is right for you, you would immediately know that it would lead to the person you have in mind. If you know without a shadow of a doubt that they really are the right one for you. And this is the thing to understand with this stuff. This really isn't something that you can fool yourself into. You need to become aware of what genuinely feels true to you. And then rather than fighting with it to try to make yourself believe something else, you hand it over to the higher self. You say, this is what I'm assuming right now. This is what feels true to me. But I know that you have a way to give me what I want, despite my limited thinking. So I am willing to drop my insistence that things must go the way I think they should go. And I am willing to allow you to bring me what is truly right for me, what will truly fulfill me. And I'm telling you, when you step out of the way like that, the way things fall into place is beyond magical. It will blow you away with its perfection. But you really do have to be willing to let go of control and to let the higher self take over. And notice it's not about tricking yourself into thinking you're happy when you're not. It's about remembering what's true at the deepest level, that you have this infinite power that is on your side and that actually wants to give you what you want. When you know that, when you understand it, when you rest in it, life has no choice but to mirror it back to you. So this isn't just positive thinking. This isn't wishful imagining. This is the nature of reality. This is the foundation of how reality gets generated. Whatever you assume to be true is what gets expressed as physical fact. So if you assume I'm always struggling, then life will continue to reflect struggle. If you assume I'm abundant, I'm cared for, I'm free, then that's what life will show you. It's not about trying to convince yourself of something you don't believe. It's about gently shifting your state towards what you desire, towards what you want to make true. And the beautiful thing is you don't have to get it all perfectly right this second. There's no rush in this. This is an ongoing process. Your power is always now, so you never need to be afraid of creating something you don't want or that you don't like, because the moment you notice that you don't like what you created, you can shift internally and choose differently, and immediately you will proceed to create the new reality that you do want. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might be saying, but if I let go, if I stop controlling, won't everything fall apart? And that's the fear of the human self speaking again. It believes that its own effort is holding things together. But if you really look back at your life, you'll notice that the best things that ever happened to you often were not the result of your own plans. They came unexpectedly, effortlessly, as if life was conspiring in your favor. And that's the thing. If you really stop and notice it, you'll see that this is always the case, that there is always this underlying force, this underlying power that is directing things for you. But a lot of the time we get in the way with our human strategizing and we block that flow. And so this is your invitation to start stepping into that flow again. To drop that insistence on your own human logic and to start letting things be directed for you from a divine level again. And so we come full circle. We start this journey because we want control. But what we end up discovering is that control was never the point. The point was remembering who we really are. The point was letting go of the human self's frantic need to push and resting in the higher self's quiet knowing. The irony is that the moment you stop controlling is the moment you discover real power, because the human self never had the power in the first place. The higher self, God, that's where all creation flows from. And the moment you align with that, life opens up. Everything you desire manifests ever so easily. Struggles dissolve. Peace becomes your natural state. And you realize it was never about earning or forcing or proving. It was always about remembering. So if you take one thing from this, let it be this. You don't need to try so hard. You don't need to keep forcing. You don't need to chase techniques or control outcomes. Just relax, trust, allow. You are already the one with the power. You are already the higher self expressing itself. Everything you want is already available to you. The only thing in the way is the belief that you have to make it happen or that something needs to change before you can have it. Let go of that and watch how perfectly life begins to fall into place in the most beautiful and incredible ways. That is it from me for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.